Hello, welcome to Arcus and Tenebris. This next session, which I don't know the number of right at the moment. All right, so when we were last playing, the group had to make a hard decision on the moral victory or the political victory, because as such, they had to turn away a grieving father, and they are truly hoping that for that they learned a valuable lesson that sometimes, the only answer you can give is the sad one. So I'm gonna say that it's been like about a few weeks since then. What's everyone been up to?
Been trying to learn about astral travel.
Okay.
Didn't get very far in it. But I'm chained.
Arthur, sorry, what did when they were at that the base, I don't know what it's called. For the archmages, what did they call the vampires? Because he's been looking into
Elders.
her, you know. Yeah, he's been kind of trying to follow up on that just to
I believe they called them vampires. Because because the term that they have for the other supernaturals is night folk, and so they were like, so if they were talking about vampires, they would just said vampires, even though the vampires refer to themselves as something else. However, I think that's what they mentioned. What were you looking into?
just because if I remember correctly, we got her name right, like when Katanya did the dreaming.
For their boss?
I remember that. Yeah, so he was just kind of like doing some research on her, maybe doing like a stakeout.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, as I said before, she is a very much into the arts, the local art scene, and is very philanthropic when it comes to the physical, not the performing arts, but various
created arts.
created arts. Yeah, I want to say physical arts, but that sounds wrong. But anyway, but she's very she's very into she's very into the physical art. She mainly
You mean movement arts?
she's mainly into portraiture and stuff like that. She dabbles in sculpture, but she that's her main focus. She's behind a few studios in town. However, and has had some hand in local related zoning and political machinations, but as far as you can, at least without a role, she, that's kind of what you find, pick up from her, is that she is I'm going to say wealthy, not necessarily rich, but she's got very much disposable income on top of all of her other assets.
He's got being involved in the material arts kind of money.
Yeah. Which, ironically, isn't as huge as you think it is anymore. Because...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just kind of become more niche. Because everybody thinks of the classics and the classic masters, and when it comes to modern artists, even if they're really good, do not get into that range unless they are able to play the game and play the game hard. And by the time that they get there, it isn't about their actual how good they are about their field. It becomes more about branding and the name that they made, and being able to trick people to go like, oh, you've got a Flarferson or whatever. Like in a very sad way, it's sort of comparable to a very diluted isolated version of the patron system, except they're not even supporting the artist, they're just supporting the name that they can say, that they can brag behind. Yeah, starving artist is still very much a thing.
Oh, I mean, the classics never go out of style, so there's always going to be starving artists.
Yeah, but when it comes to studios and studio showings, and what most people would classically think of, we are having a showing of our art. When it comes to when it comes to those big names and that type of money to be thrown around, that doesn't really happen. I think the latest artist that really happened to at that kind of scale was like back in the 70s, maybe like early 80s, because that at least in the United States. I can't speak for Europe or Japan.
What about the? Because I mean, I know this is kind of related, but I know there was like a little girl. I don't know if you heard about her, but I think she had like autism, and like her art. It was like I don't know what kind of art it was, but it was selling for millions. But I don't know if she was American or not.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the art scene in the United States is very sad. But that's a tangent in of itself.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
But that's about what you've been able to pick up from her, at least without doing any. I'm gonna say that is the Google Foo answer. Unless you want to make a roll.
The only role I could think of would be maybe like Streetwise to see if anybody's heard about her.
Okay, give me a roll.
All right, what would it be? Intelligence and Streetwise, or?
I'd say, that usually falls into your social skills when you're trying to like find out about someone.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, your empathy could be used, because yeah.
Oh, okay. So it would be like so charisma and empathy. That seems, or
Well, okay. One second. Let me pull you up real quick. But it would be under investigation plus
oh, okay.
empathy. So.
What's confusing? What kind of confused me is because empathy isn't an attribute. Did you mean roll 2 skills
Well,
or 2 abilities?
okay. Here, no, there it is. I meant charisma and investigation.
Oh, okay. So 1, 2,
Sorry,
3, 4, 6.
I mostly originally learned about this game in the you know Chronicles of Darkness system before it was called Chronicles of Darkness. So sometimes my anyway.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of. Uh, 4 plus 2, so that's 6. So it's slash roll,
Yeah.
number of dice,
Well,
base.
slash roll should come up with your prompt, which should give you a prompt. So
Okay.
yeah, if you do slash, it should come up in the frequently used, and you can click it, and it says expression. You could say 5D or 60 or whatever D.
Oh. I gotta. Okay, here.
I'm gonna in this version of the storyteller system, generally speaking, ones take away successes, and even though that would have been an exploding number, yeah, I'm gonna say that you didn't find anything.
Alrighty.
So, what's everyone else been doing?
I will probably have used this time to make the hammer as you described.
So at least the way that I kind of been thinking that you were saying is you were like, were you thinking of it as a one-handed sledge or a two-handed sledge?
Probably two-handed,
Okay.
like one of those to make holes in walls and such.
Yeah. Two-handed's the most common, but the shape of the hammer is of the hammerhead is why it's called a sledge, and there are one-handed variations, but they're mostly used for like body work or blacksmithing. What are they? Blacksmithing. That's a bloodsmithing is a vampire trade or something. Anyway, so have you tried it out? How does the lightning aspect show itself? Does it come from the hammer? Is it a lightning strike from above? What?
From the hammer.
Okay, cool. And I also assume that you have been looking through the uh, the the advancement book that helps you raise your arete for the last few weeks.
Indeed, I would probably be probably arrange some kind of schedule in which we read them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say that that has probably been enough time to upgrade your arete, because you need to give that a couple weeks study. So I'm gonna say either we could either do it now or at the end of the session. That if you want to upgrade your Arete, that's definitely possible.
No, it's fine, unless something urgent is planned.
Okay. Well, also you've got to remember that that this allows you to upgrade your Arete without a seeking. So it's very like you kind of like have like this very kind of quiet epiphany of like, oh, okay, I guess it's from every other standpoint, it's almost like an anticlimax because seekings are supposed to be like life altering and all that, but this kind of skipped it and you went, oh, okay, I guess. So you can raise your Arete. Unless anyone else is kind of got anything else going, I could, we can move on.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, as I said, it's been like about 3 weeks since the last situation occurred, and everything's been like moving smoothly. Everybody's had their own projects. However, this morning, one of Tatiana's co-workers is, trying to get through their shift, but is very obviously distraught. So, game plot bait here.
If I see,
Tatiana, one of your coworkers is feeling emotionally distraught.
Okay.
Would you like to investigate?
Yeah.
All right. So, you've known Julie for quite a while. She's definitely been there for like she's been working alongside you for like about the better part of a year. And Julie had gone through a divorce just around the time she started to work at the diner, and it was a pretty bitter divorce, and unfortunately her ex-husband was decided to treat their daughter as a weapon against Julie, and she luckily was able to get custody and all that, but it was a very hard won situation. But that kind of happened, and she had moved on, and things were starting to look good for her, as far as recovering her life. However, she was, as I said this morning, she looks very emotionally distraught, and after some prodding, you can tell that she is very hesitant. She is very hesitant to try and say what's bothering her, but she kind of like leans in when no one's looking and says, my daughter is not my daughter. And everyone, people who should know better just don't see it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. To me, it's very clear that, this person is not my daughter. Aside from how she acts, which is which is madness in and of itself. It's like someone had a memory of her, but not even a good memory, and then rebuilt something around that, and then swapped them out. So she goes like, but that's crazy. It's crazy. I'm crazy. And she kind of breaks down a little bit.
Dear. Have you taken her to go see a doctor?
That was one of the first things I did, because I took her to her pediatrician, because I was like, of all the people in the world, they should be able to see that this is not the same kid, But they did not respond in any way to indicate that there was that she didn't recognize that this was a different kid. What was really concerning, though, is on top of that, and my certainty and all that, she is acting like she's acting like a wild animal. And I'm not talking about being misbehaved. I'm talking about she hides behind furniture. She no longer has any human manners. Has no table manners. Has no. Her ability to interact with other people is practically, animalistic and non-existent. And and what drives me nuts is, everyone is is looking at her behavior and thinks it's a delayed reaction to the divorce. And I don't know what to do. I mean, this all happened after, when we went to the, oh darn it. I was going to say Dog Canyon, but that doesn't work. One of the parks up in Ruidoso. I don't know it off the top of my head. I have to re-look at my notes, and I don't have my notes here. So, yes. She went camping, and when they went there, her daughter had stepped away, and she ended up finding her, but she found her in a hollowed out tree. She had not been missing long enough to get the local rangers involved or anything like that. However, she was able to find her on her own, but there is the moment she stepped out of her sight, and she had found her again. From that point on, it's like she was a completely different person. if person is even the word to describe her. And Julie's like, I don't know what to do. And there is this stranger, this thing in my house, and I am both grieving and scared. And almost anyone I try to open up to, think that I'm crazy.
That is wow. If you don't mind, I have some friends that are actually pretty smart. One of them's a detective. Maybe we can go meet her later today after your shift.
Yeah, we with that she gets like she gets reinvigorated with this hope out of nowhere. And as such, she just kind of she absolutely says yes. This. At one point, she even says like "fuck my shift, let's go." But she kind of like says, "Okay, yes, let's wait after we get off and let's yes, please."
Okay, so I'll go message the guys and say, and ask, just say, hey guys, there's a concern with one of my coworkers. I think something happened to her kid. Can we meet? Can you come to my work at X time?
I reply, I will be there. I ask, do I need to pick someone up to the group?
Jimmy will say, "Yeah, I'd be happy if I could get a ride."
I'll pick up
Yeah.
Jimmy.
That sounds good.
So, after their shift ends, you guys all kind of like congregate at at the diner, and you guys, I'm gonna say, if you guys actually want to like stay there to talk about it, that you guys can find like a quiet booth. And as soon as as soon as she sees like the assembly of the rest of the cabal, she's like, there are all these people, and I don't know what there's that process in the back of her head. It's like, there are these weird men all standing here. I don't. And so she's kind of got this weird hesitancy going on.
So,
real quick. When Tatiana messaged him, did she say that there was did she mention the camping trip, or did she literally just say that there was a coworker that needed help?
Literally said that there was a coworker that needed help. I figured when you guys got here, I'd just either offer you guys something to drink at the diner, or just take you upstairs to my flat and just kind of be more blunt and just tell you the whole thing.
Oh no, I was just asking because like if Arthur had known, he would have brought like a map of the area that you described, because it could be easier to like focus in on. But okay, just checking. I mean, he can get that later, so that's fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna I'm gonna say that you all kind of get together, and you all get together, and she goes, so she asks, so how do we do this? What do you need to know?
And then Arthur, he's got like some notebooks. He got like a notebook and a pen. He's like, well, just uh, start from the beginning. Just tell us what you told what you told Tatiana, and let's get all the. Yeah, that's basically it. He just asked for like chronological order, the best of her ability.
Okay. So, 1 second. Let me pick up my notes real quick.
Smallest question. You've had some run-ins before with no, what this can wait. I do have a working theory right now.
I guess the only question I'd have is, does her dad know? Or have you looked into, is her dad acting weird?
I have not brought it up to him. I'm going through this madness enough. I don't need to have whatever. I don't need to have his bile make the situation worse. And even if I were to tell him, he never really had a real interest in her as a person. It was my idea to have her when we were married, and he was very aloof about her. Before we got the divorce.
So there's no visitation or anything like that you have to worry about?
Not for a couple months. And I haven't heard from him, so I do not have any indication that he could be behind it in any way. But yeah, it's
So he hasn't seen her since this happened, right?
No, he has had some visitation, but not since before this incident. No. So she says, so we went. So she starts explaining the series of events. So we went camping for the weekend at up in Cloudcroft, near Forest Trail 91 in the Lincoln Forest area. And it was nice. It was quiet. It was gave us time to think and get away from the hustle and bustle of the city and all that. And everything was going fine. The first, you'd think there were like bigger concerns of like bears or anything like that, but there was no indication of any big animals in the area. I mean, we saw like a couple deer on on an opposing hill far off, but we saw squirrels, fucking squirrels, and on the second day, she stepped away for a little bit. While I was organizing everything in at camp, I turn around, and she's gone. I start looking around, and I was keeping my panic down because at the moment she couldn't have gone far. I mean, literally, she could not have gone far. It was a matter of literally a minute or less. So I went searching for her, and like about 20 minutes or so, I found her in this 6 foot 6 foot sorry, I found her in this hollowed out tree, and it was like a big tree, and she was hiding in against the back wall of this hollowed out tree. And when I went to go get her, she was acting so strangely. But she would follow me, even though, and she didn't really speak. Ever since then, I've gotten like vocalizations, but she hasn't said a word. So she just, and I swear. So we get her home. I'm freaking out because I'm like, this is not my daughter, but she's, and I don't done. She looks as much like her as anyone who doesn't know her. She could easily be mistaken for her. But the problem is she acts like an animal. I got her home afterward, and that night it rained, and she wanted to go outside, and I was still panicking, and I let her go outside, and a couple minutes later I go check on her, and in the rain I see her squatting over a puddle, and I didn't really take a second look, and I came back around and I found her eating gravel and worms. And when I pulled her away from it, she almost bit me. It was like pulling an animal away from their meal. And it isn't that I didn't feed her. It was the first thing I did when we got home. And the next day, I took her to the doctor. The doctor didn't see anything different or wrong with her, other than her mental state. And everybody thinks it's just a reaction to the divorce, which I'll give. My my ex-husband's a son of a bitch, but this is not this isn't where how she is didn't come from that, As I said, she's something different.
Arthur's gonna pause. He's like, so aside from, oh wait, can I do a? Hold on, let me. I do have one question.
What?
I just want to see how I am in that area.
Would I be able to make the link with? Well, I won't say this out loud right now.
How about
but,
if you want to like ask if your character would know something and you don't want to like make it vocal, you could just message me over Discord.
Well, I was more thinking like I basically want to give a call to the werewolves and see if they got an answer to our problem.
Right now?
Not right now, but when we're in private, so that's why.
Okay, because
no.
I'm like, okay, I mean, but yeah, that's definitely something that you could like put on the back burner until like when this interview is over. But yeah, you could definitely do that.
So my question was, Arthur doesn't have a cult, but could he still make a knowledge roll if he knows of anything that like replaces kids and eats worms? Or is it like strictly a cult that you need?
I think Jimmy's probably been around something that might be. He might have a clue.
All right, let me bring up Jimmy.
I mean, he's been in the know about things longer than we have.
Maybe a little bit. Well, I don't know about that.
Well, he does have 2 dots in it.
I have 2 dots in a cult?
Well, no.
The character
NPC Jimmy.
Oh. Okay, that's why I was like, I don't think so.
Sorry.
Yeah, that would be a cult, right?
Yeah,
I only have 1 dot. I got 2 dots in Esoterica, but that's
I
not gonna help.
have
Esoterica is. I was gonna say Esoterica is more along the. Esoterica is more along the lines of, here are all these magical formulae. How do I apply them, and what do they do, type of thing.
Okay.
So, who has a cult?
I think Titania said she had 1.
No, I only have 1, but Fluke has. Do you have?
No investigation.
Okay. Alright, so let me do the roll for Jimmy Durant. Okay, so yeah, Jimmy's got a couple ideas, but he doesn't want to talk about them until after this interview.
Oh, Jimmy went with us.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was texting him. Okay.
I texted all the guys. What are you talking about?
Which is one of the reasons why Julie was feeling so weird, was because like, oh, there's these handful of men that I've never met who are all,
Okay, that makes sense. Because like
Very astute.
At first I thought it was like 2 people, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. But no, you're right. I can see why like 3 people and okay. My mistake.
So yeah, that's so I'm still holding. I'm going to say that Klaus is there, but he's going to be in the background because I'm still hoping that to hear back from Tiri soon. So I don't want to like write out his character from the game quite yet. So it's a bunch of guys. It's just kind of like, from her perspective, it's like, okay, bam, bunch of men. Okay, this is so. As I said, Jimmy Durant has a couple ideas, but he's not going to bring it up in front of her. And he doesn't want to like say like, oh, I know what this is. I might know what this is, because he doesn't want to like. He doesn't want to get her hopes up either. So basically, he kind of looks at a couple of you and like kind of touches his nose, which is a old timey
Signal.
A signal from it's an old timey American signal, like, okay, I got a handle on something type of thing. It was usually started out in the illegal gambling dens of the Wild West. So it's an old timey signal, which makes sense because Jimmy's kind of like anachronistic in that way. So that was his signal of like, I might know something. Any other questions?
Do you? Arthur's gonna be like, do you have when you were at the camp, like, would you be able to like point out the exact, or how close could you point out like the exact area you were in on a map? Like, do you have an idea of?
So she has a app on her phone called All Trails, and she had her trail, her entire position recorded, so she can like, so basically she had the app track her GPS movements in the area, so she can. She'll have one of you download the app, and she'll like give you her give you her trip.
Okay.
So you can like follow what so you can follow her route.
Okay, this will help.
Any other questions?
As far as your daughter's strange behaviors, was she maybe avoiding anything? Like, did she seem scared of like any particular material or symbols, or just like anything odd? Like, she would stay away from like a certain type of water. Was there a scent like candles that made her nervous or anything like that?
So Julie looks at you a little weird and goes, "No? Not that I noticed. I mean, her behavior's been weird, has been incredibly strange, but nothing that I have noticed about that. She acts like a caged wild animal. Like she's an animal in a person's body. She hasn't shown any fear or recoiling from anything that I've noticed. So I don't know. Not as I said, I haven't noticed it.
Right, right. That's understandable. I was just curious, you know, throwing a bunch of darts at the wall, see if something sticks. Last question I have. You have maybe like it's a working theory here, but do you have any like of a recent hair or anything? I'm just curious because like maybe she got exposed to something and sometimes that comes off in the hair, so maybe I can do like a test on that.
Like from her hairbrush?
Yeah. Has she been letting you brush her or
Since this? No. I've got
Oh.
I've got her hair from before it. If you want, that's. What? Tell me again. What do you guys do?
Well, I'm a private investigator, so sometimes people get into substances and it shows up in their hair. It you know, like
Yes,
you're doing.
yes, it does, but you need the follicular tag, which is like the roots, and that doesn't really come off. So now she's starting to feel a little like, what's going on here, type of thing. Because as you may or may not know, hair
What was her job?
She is a she works in the diner with Tatiana, but like so many single white women, she is really into true crime drama. So
Oh, I didn't think of that.
So she knows that to do those kind of tests, you need the roots of the hair, which is called the follicular tag, which usually doesn't come up when you brush someone's hair.
Ah.
So yeah, she's like, why do you need her hair? So you guys kind of got to come up with something to help ease her. To ease her suspicions about what's going on.
I would think that she'd be open to weirdness since her daughter is doing weirdness.
That may be true, but you didn't introduce these people as into weirdness. So you just said, I know some smart guys. So I'm not saying that you can't, say Jimmy's a bruja or something like that. In the bruja in the Spanish sense, not in the vampire sense.
I was about to say, wouldn't that be quite a name drop?
What?
Current data.
I do think everyone knows what brujas are, right?
No, you don't. But I just realized as soon as the word came out of my mouth, I went, I need to clarify this.
So Jimmy, he's just gonna be like, well, it works in the movies. I mean, I'm pretty new at this, but maybe something.
Arthur, you mean? Or are you referring to
no.
the NPC?
No, wait, yeah, that's true. Hold on.
All right. So a little clarification for our listeners here. The player playing Arthur Pendergast goes by Jimmy on as their Discord handle. So this is causing a little bit of processing errors.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
You thought you were being clever, didn't you?
Okay. It works
Yes.
for the character of what the character is supposed to be. All right, behind the scenes, Jimmy Durant's personality is supposed to be somewhat of like a 1920s gangstery type of mindset. He as a person he's lost in time in both directions.
Oh, okay. I
So-
remember that he was lost in time, but I thought that it was Jimmy because he was a thief.
No, he's Jimmy because he's like Jimmy Durant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
Does he
Jimmy,
have
like,
a Thompson? We need
thought
to
it was
get
like
him a
Jimmy, like-
Thompson.
He does now.
Nice.
But yeah, it's but that was that's the concept behind Jimmy Durant is he has the mindset and personality of a 1920s gangster, but he is from a alternate future of so things are very different for him, and we really haven't had time to express that. So, and it hasn't come up, but for the sake of explaining the name and the confusion, that's why his name is Jimmy, because he's like, yeah, I'm Jimmy Durant. Oh, I could have done that. Damn it.
All right, we still love you.
All right, cool. All right, let me change it to Tony now. He is forever now known as Tony Durant.
Up until this point, we were just all hearing him wrong when he said his name.
Yeah. All right. He is Tony Durant.
We could just always call him Durant.
All right.
Well, that too.
Like as like a military thing. It wouldn't make sense because none of us have a military background, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. Back to the game. So Tony is like, signals that he might have an idea. And, does anyone have any more questions or thoughts they want to bring up?
I don't think so.
Okay. Fluke, any thoughts?
No, Fluke will probably say some niceties to the lady and try to calm her down a bit.
Okay. Tatiana?
Should we try to meet her first, or
You were all at the diner.
we're all at the diner. What I'm saying is, should we try to meet the girl first?
Oh, the child in question, you mean?
Yeah.
Sure, you guys can do that. So I'm gonna say that you say let's meet her. You all make your way to. I'm going to say you make your way to the daycare because she's not in school all the time, and she's still her mom is still at work. So you go to the daycare. And you are like on the outside of the fence, the backyard, and they're running around. She hasn't brought you in yet, but she points to the fence and says, "She's the blonde girl there." And you see a blonde girl in far dirtier clothes than you would normally expect, and she is digging with her hands, roughly digging with her hands at the root of a oak tree.
How? Okay, so is she like digging? How old is she first? I forgot to ask that. Did they say?
I'm gonna say that she is like about 7.
Okay. Oh, okay. So like when you say roughly digging at her hands, can I see blood in her fingernails, or is she like cut up? Like how rough is it? Just like
Well, you wouldn't be able to see that through the fence. You'll have to like she'll have to like pick her up because the way that daycares work is they need to have a certain ratio of adults to caretakers to children, and you can't just go back there because then it like it causes
right.
distress to kids, and there's like an official rule that they have to follow. So it'd just be simpler for her mom to pick her up, and they kind of head out, and unless there's something that anyone wants to bring up as a suggestion, she's going to like take her out of daycare and come meet you guys in the parking lot. That work for everybody?
yeah.
All right. So
Works for me.
So like about 10 minutes later, she comes out of the place, holding the child by her hand, and as the child comes out, she is somewhat, it's not majorly struggling, but she's somewhat trying to wriggle out of the her mom's grip. And but there's this blonde, this blonde 7-year-old, standing there. I'd like to point out that you guys still didn't say that you are into are supernatural weirdos or anything like that.
Well, I wanted
to.
So
one of my bracelets has. I'm a bit of a, because she's a bit of a nerd. She likes fiction, and one of her favorite things is Name of the Wind. So she has this. She wears this amulet around her wrist. That's basically it's an iron wheel. And so she, without really saying much, she'll get up near her and just try to like touch her head and see what happens.
What is it made out of?
Iron.
She recoils as though she's on fire, and she is all but she almost gets out of her mom's hand, but she wrestles away. She is trying to wrestle away from that the symbol that you are holding up to her, and she is just absolutely horrified. It's like it's like you stuck a cobra in her face.
Well, when she pulls back, can I pull out a light and just say, "Hold on, let me take a look at that." Because he does have a little bit of medicine, so maybe he.
Are you trying to look at? Are you trying to like see her eye dilation or what?
Well, first I want to see where it touched, because I did notice. Did I?
Oh no,
Can I make
she did not let that touch her.
Oh, okay. So can I? Well then, yeah. Actually, yeah, I did want to look at the eye thing, but I don't know my excuse
Yeah.
now. Because
Well,
that
well,
was
not-
what I was hoping for.
Well, I kind of look up.
Well,
The
I kind of
mom.
look up the mom. It's like, has she ever done that before?
not that. No.
And
What does daycare say about her?
That she behaves very strangely and can be somewhat aggressive with the other children if they get too close. But and they are concerned about her mental well-being. But unless you're asking for something a bit more specific, that'll be what they'll tell you.
Okay.
So can I try to get her attention and like kneel down and kind of like try to get her to calm down so I can have a look at her eyes?
1 second. Let me look at your sheet.
Can I also try to calm her down?
I don't know if it would be empathy or expression though. I'm assuming it's gonna be one of those. I could be wrong.
Do you have any dots in survival?
Survival. No.
Alright. Okay, I'm gonna say give me a trying to think of a go ahead and try and give me a manipulation empathy roll, because you're trying to get her to do something even though it's calming down.
Oh. I always forget I'm not supposed to put a space between them.
Okay. I'm going to say that she is extremely resistant. However, she gets to the level of calm down where she's no longer actively struggling, but she still has a level of panic in her eyes, and she is looking at the wheel on Tatiana's neck as though it is a absolute monster.
Can I move between Tatiana and her so this way she'll like
Yeah,
say
you can do that.
So she can say, "Oh no, there's a barrier. You don't have to worry. It's okay."
Okay. So yeah, she you know, yeah, she doesn't see it anymore, but she does not have problems with object permanence. She knows it's there, but yeah, she. I'm going to say that she's gone from panicked to agitated. And at this point, I'm going to say that Julie says, "Let's let's go somewhere else. I don't think we need to be doing this in the public parking lot." So I'm gonna say that you guys go to her place and and do stuff from there. Unless you guys want to do this in a very open and public parking lot in front of a childcare center.
No, cover sounds good.
All right. So, you guys go back to her place. It's an apartment, and there are 2 bedrooms, a small living room, a bathroom, and a kitchen. It's not very big, but it serves their needs, and it is a well maintained place. At least the living room and all that. In the kitchen, it's a bit more messy. You see plates stacked up, and more importantly, you notice a lot of like half empty coffee cups all over the place. But aside from that, it is so normal that you might as well have live, laugh, love somewhere. So, what next?
Well, Arthur still wants to. He still did want to look at her eyes, see if there's anything like. Maybe she'll let him see her teeth.
Okay. You look into her eyes. Which,
Look into her eyes.
yeah, I was gonna say, which is not necessarily the smartest thing to do in the world of darkness when it comes to something, but you're investigating her, and her her pupillary responses are all normal and all that, but we're talking medically, her responses are normal. However, how she looks at you and she looks at the world, there definitely is a glassy, not quite all there expression, and how she tries to interact with everything. It's very, it's like not quite the old statement of the lights are on but nobody's home, but the lights are on but the cats and dogs are running around.
So like, there's too much activity and it's not focused.
Well, no, it's that the people that are there, that of that home, metaphorically, they're just not there, but there is activity. You do not, I guess what I'm saying is you don't particularly see a spark of intelligence. It's almost like, if I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say you probably need a empathy roll. If I'm gonna,
Sure.
So.
Empathy and what though?
Oh,
Sorry, I should.
well, I'm gonna say this is gonna be perception empathy, although usually those don't generally run together. I'm gonna say that it is applicable for this role.
Okay. And then his empathy is 5. Okay. Oh no.
So while you're working on that, I'm going to say that Tony takes Tatiana aside and says, "Can I look at that for a second?" And he indicates the wheel.
Hold my hand up, or I'll extend my hand so you can see it.
And he like pulls out a jeweler's loop, or what looks like a jeweler's loop, and looks it up, and starts looking at it, and he goes, "Huh, okay, thank you." And he like puts the loop away. So with your role, I'm going to say that you so for Arthur, I mean, you have dealt with people who are you've dealt with people who are in a state of shock, who their minds are, they're ostensibly doing the emotional equivalent of buffering. They're processing internally, and topically you'd be like, this is sort of what she's doing, but it's off. There's not, it doesn't quite fall into that category, but off, if you weren't paying attention, you could probably misdiagnose it as though she's like in a state of active shock. Anyone else want to investigate this kid?
Not the kid specifically.
Okay, well, if everyone's kind of like stopped with the kid, Tony, Tony, kind of asks if he could like take everyone aside and talk to them. And says, "Can we have a moment, please?" And he pulls everyone aside. He's like,
I guess we can go to the van.
Well, no. He's like, everybody kind of like withdraws to a corner type of thing. We're not talking about super, we're not talking about military secrets. Let's not talk, type of thing. But, it's like hush voices. He's like, so how much are we wanting to tell this person?
I think we should stick to protocol and try to save the veil? Question mark.
Because I've got a pretty good idea what this could be. But, I'm not going to say it's impossible to fix this if it is what I think it is. But there is a very, very, very high possibility that if we fix this, the person that she gets back, she's not going to recognize. And there's going to be she's going to have a very hard time recognizing what we end up with if we are able to pull this off at all.
Is it
Well,
possibly better than having a gremlin child?
yeah, that's what Arthur's gonna ask.
I don't want to like go into full details of my guess right now, but it's one of these. It's possible. I want to let everyone know that if this is something that we want to pursue, that there is a good possibility that this will.
I will ask a other question. Will whatever it might happen in the worst case be worse than this rather for lack of better words, wolf-like behavior be any different? Would it be worse than that or not?
We're getting into territory where I don't want to even risk us possibly being overheard in any way, but I'm just letting anyone know how far we go in this kind of depends on how much we want this woman to know.
So looking at Tony, I was like, well, what if this were your kid?
Well, if it were me, I'd say yes. But at the same time, once again, if this is what I think this is, there is no way that I can walk away from this pretending that that the world is how I think of it. This is going to be if we want to do this, if we want to do this, we need to go into this with the understanding that she's going to have to know something. We may not tell her everything, but she's going to need to know something. And now she doesn't need to know it now, but she's going to need to know something. And I think we need to decide on how much we want to tell her. And that's assuming that we're able to pull this off at all, which I don't know if we can.
How much do you Arthur's like, so yeah, I mean, so basically she'll know some stuff and all that, but and he's gonna turn to
And he's
Tatiana.
been living
he's
with
like,
stuff.
Okay.
yeah, he's gonna turn to Tatiana.
All right. I just wanted to let everyone understand that it's not. Our last thing was pretty hard, and I know it hit everybody pretty hard. And I'm not saying that we're gonna have to like make a similar decision, but if we're going to do this, we're gonna have to go into this knowing that we're gonna have to say something. What we say we don't need to come up with right now, but if we do, then we need to be aware that is a possibility. He says, I've got a couple of samples I'd like to take. How is everyone else? Does anyone else have any? Does anyone else have any thoughts about what they wanted to do here?
Oh, I mean, Arthur did want to he did want to ask the mother something.
Okay.
While we're huddling, I would also ask, I'm so sorry Tony. Yes, Tony. It was worth it to contact our friends of the forest. I'm referring to the wolves.
Yeah. Tony goes, we can contact them. They may know something about the area, but or know someone who does. And I don't want to like blind us by, having us only focus on my assumption, but yeah, we could definitely do that. And they are enough family based enough that they would appreciate lending a hand, which and out of character, which isn't exactly true, but it's close enough. They're not family based, they're pack based, but it's a close enough mentality.
I think the main difference is one is for like a purpose and the other is just you're close to them.
It's, as I said, it's a close enough analogy, but yeah. So you wanted to did you want to do?
He wanted to ask her where does the child spend most of her time? Does she still go into her room or hang out in a particular spot?
Yeah, she stays in her room, and I should point out that it's only been a handful of days since this had happened. This has not been going on for very long. But yeah, she says she usually goes to her room, and she lets go the child, and it sort of goes to what it recognizes as its room. And let me see. Could I have someone give me a perception investigation as you approach the room?
I can do that. If my sheets want to load.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't do good.
Never mind.
No, you're gonna need to.
1 second.
3 in perception, 0 in investigation.
You could roll low. All you need is a handful of successes to be successful.
Game rolls, not game rules. I have 1.
Is that a 1 or a 7 at the end?
You said investigation, perception?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 5 dice. What
Okay. I'm gonna say
difficulty?
that it's not that difficult a thing. It's just I want to know if you're being okay. So a couple of you notice that as you get led to the bedroom, that the floor is a carpeted floor, and as you approach the door, you notice that there is a, albeit light but repeated friction trail that goes from in front of the child's door to a nearby bookshelf. which with context clues would somewhat indicate that there are times where she puts the bookcase in front of the door.
How old is the kid?
The child is I think I said it was 7.
Yes.
Does the bookcase look like something that can be carried by a child of 7?
Oh no. This looks like it was moved by an adult.
Oh. Player me sees, character me doesn't see it.
Well, I would think that character would figure that out.
Yeah.
So in the room, the bookcase is
No,
being moved in the room.
no, outside of the room. All right, I'll stop being coy here. You can tell that there are times where the bookcase is being put in front of the door, most likely to keep the child inside.
Okay.
However, you can notice that this is a recent thing. It is not worn enough to suggest that this is a repeated thing. So most likely this is in response to this weirdness. So you go to the room and all the bedding is made into a nest in the corner. There are things are knocked over, and it's pretty messy. But this does not look like a child's inattention to their room. This looks like a caged animal lashing out to its environment. And I'll just give you guys this. You see a lot of hand smudges on the window. But once again, all this looks recent.
Is the mother? Did the mother and the daughter come into the room with us? Or are they there with now?
The daughter went into the room, and she is in the room and is hiding behind a chair, looking at you guys. And she is acting as a wild animal, trying to protect its habitat without endangering itself, type of thing. Where she's like, where this isn't like this is coming off as this isn't coming off as a child that is afraid or messy or all that. This really does feel animalistic.
Okay, so like I was asking about the mother because Arthur wants to see if he can look at the room in Prime to see
she would be like sitting on the couch, just like kind of wringing her hands. Yeah, she would not have, followed her in, because watching that child in her kid's room is traumatic for her.
Wearing her down.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I try to look at the room and the kid with Prime?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me see just to make sure. I have Quintessence 2, Prime 2. Okay, so 4. Slash.
Well, you're not rolling your quintessence, you're rolling your arete.
Yeah, no, I meant Arete.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So we'll get to the kid in a minute. What about the room do you want to learn?
Well, he wanted to see if there was anything more on the windows because it seemed like she was focusing a lot on the windows. If there's any like if the handprints are different or odd.
What? Okay. Give me a second, because I want to, see how coy I want to play this, but, you would just see it. You see the window itself looks normal, and you were just about to turn away from it until you realize those smudges have the wrong amount of fingers. It has those smudges are 4-fingered, not 5.
Just have this week.
So
Goblins.
So the rest of the room looks like it should. Or rather what you would expect and all that. And you turn your sight onto the child, which is hiding behind the chair. And you don't really know what you're looking at. Because when it comes to like looking at things through Prime, you see the pattern of the object, of the material. And granted, you are looking at the child, through the slats of a chair. However, the child is not coming up as flesh and blood at all. It is coming off as plant matter and mud and a odd energy. And furthermore, as you're looking at it, I'm going to say that it looks like a Frankenstein version of Groot. And there are no eyes, just carved out sockets for eyes.
There's Dana only Zool. Sorry, had to do that.
And the energy, I'm going to say that you have no basis for comparison. So, you're like, that's a weird energy. Don't know what it means, but yeah.
So Tony came in with me, right?
Yeah.
Tony's with us.
Yeah.
So in a hushed voice, I'm gonna tell him that in the windows there's 4 fingers, and I'm gonna explain that the little girl, she looks like a weird it's a weird plant Frankenstein.
And he says,
Gremlin.
mud and sticks.
And yeah,
Yep, that tracks. All right. He kind of like nods his head and he says, "One minute," and he walks out to the mom and says, "So you haven't been able to brush her hair since then? Can I take a look at her? Take a look at her brush?" And the mom, goes to the bathroom and shows her brush and he asks, "Is this her brush? Do you use it all at all?" And she says, "No, we. I've got my own brush in the bedroom." And he nods his head and he takes a couple of like a pinch of hair and tucks it away and takes out his loop and looks at it and he goes, "Okay, all right." And he thanks her and she puts the brush away and he steps back to you guys and he goes, "Yeah, this pretty much confirms what I think is going on. Anyone want to do anything else? Because I think I'm done."
I'm good.
Well, if you know what's going on, I think we best retreat to somewhere where we can talk freely. I say in a small voice.
Well, speaking for myself, I've got everything that I need to know. I'm not a people person, so I'm ready to leave if everyone else is.
Arthur nods. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so unless someone has a reason to stay, you guys leave. You let her know that as soon as you know something, you'll let her know, and I'll say you guys withdraw back to your sanctum. Yeah.
Actually, before we do that, I'm sorry. Does she have something that the child made before, um, before this happened?
Like a drawing or artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna say that there are like about a half a dozen pictures on the fridge. She could let you have one if that's what you need.
Yeah, we're gonna borrow one.
All right. Anybody else?
Arthur, just make sure to give her his contact information if she needs to talk to him like directly. Like she doesn't have time to go.
You give her your card.
Yeah. Just in case.
And she looks at it. She goes, "Well, damn, you actually are a detective, aren't you?"
Yeah, I'm just. It's a long story. Yes.
Her demeanor kind of changes, and she kind of like shifts her feet back and forth, and she goes, "I don't really have a whole lot of money at the moment to hire you professionally."
Kind of like he waves his hand. He shakes it off. He's like, don't worry about that. Let's just get your daughter back. When there's kids involved, I just tend to forget to bill people anyways.
Okay. So she kind of like nods back and forth, and she kind of says thank you, and if everybody's leaving, she'll say goodbye and all that. Anyone have anything else before we go? Okay.
Yeah, let's head back to the sanctum.
So, old cartoon Batman, as you guys end up at the sanctum. So, I don't know what symbol you guys would be under, but still. Anyway, so you guys end up back at the sanctum, and Tony goes, "All right. Have you guys ever heard of? Have you guys ever heard of the Fae before?"
No.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. This is not my area of expertise at all, and I just know a little bit, and it's sort of incongruous with what I've run into, but enough of it tracks that I think we are either dealing with it or something similar to it. But I'm willing to bet that that girl is something called a fetch. It's a construct. It's not alive in any traditional sense. And I'm going to say that it should probably stop functioning in a couple months. At which point it will fall apart into all of its base materials, and it will not leave a traditional body. So this I've run into a couple of these, but they don't really work like this anymore. I mean, back in the ancient times they did, but I've never really nowadays they don't really do this. They're a little too desperate for everything else. So let me tell you how things worked way back when. There was a I don't even know what exactly it was, but in order for them to exist here, they need a certain energy from people. I don't know what it is, but there was a section of history where that energy stopped being available. So they kind of retreated. Later they came back, and long story, not important, but back in the day there used to be and by back in the day I mean like medieval times. Back in the day, occasionally people would be taken, usually children, and to throw parents and family and all that off the track, they would leave this thing behind in its place. What happens to the person is they were usually taken as slaves of some kind to the dimension that they come from, a place called Arcades something. Anyway, so they would end up taking them off to this place, and the thing is, time in that place is weird. You could be there for 3 years and come back and have no time have passed, or you could be there for a week and 5 years could have passed, and there really is no way of knowing what in which direction this time dilation will go. But it is not unheard of to have those who are kidnapped either be rescued by third parties or that they escape on their own. However, by the time they get back, they are changed. They are not as they were, and usually not in a recognizable age as they were. So it is entirely possible that by the time that we find, if we were even able to get there and we were able to rescue this kid, they could be an adult. And coming back with them, assuming let's say we're lucky and no time passes for us, and we're like, get there, grab the kid, get back. By the time that we present her child back to her, she's most likely not gonna recognize her, and that's not even counting what the dimensions effect on the kid is, because once you go through something like that, you are touched. You are, in a very real sense, not 100% human anymore, and that can translate into abilities or deformities or a great deal of things. So with that in mind, I just want you guys to know that we may be able, in theory, to do this, but what we get on the other end may or may not be recognizable to her. And as Tatiana said, if it was my kid, yes, I would do it. But I know enough of how things are to come through on the other side. As far as Julie here, what we give her back, there is no way that she will either, get her kid back and not know that things are a bit, that the world isn't as she knows it, or won't accept what we get back for her. So I just want everybody to know that. And I'm still...
Either way, we
said she was kidnapped. Is there any benefit to rescuing her? And can we even rescue her? Do we have the forces available to us?
It's possible. It's possible. But I just want everyone to know, and as I said to Tatiana, if it was me, yes, I'd do it. And yes, we are rescuing someone. However, I just want everyone to know both the stakes and the possible cost here. I'm willing to go after this kid. Now, I understand I'm willing to do so because I don't really have a footprint in this world. But you guys do. I don't know if you have, family here. I don't know if you have, people who will miss you, but there is a possibility that us going after this kid, enough time will pass that they will wonder where you went. I'm willing to go after this kid. But this is something that you have to ask yourself to see if you're up to.
I don't know if this would be like a role. I guess Arthur's main thing is he does help parents and stuff, so he does help other people too. So like how often do people come to him for help? That's why I'm like, I don't know how much of a role this would be, because like if he's gone for a long time, even though there's nobody that he particularly would miss, it would weigh on him if he wasn't around to help out other, like, more people. Like I know you shouldn't do a numbers game, but he's kind of seeing it, trying to like step back and look at it as a numbers game.
Well, I can, if I may suggest, you don't have any active cases now. If you had active cases now, I could see that being, I could see that being a real concern. But one of the things that you learn in any type of law enforcement or, search and rescue type situation is you count the living, not the dead.
Right.
And even if, you are extremely empathetic, you have to go into that line of work with that mindset. So, and I'm not trying to tell you how to play your character, but
yeah.
But I'm saying, as someone who is even tangentially involved in law enforcement, like your character is, you would be going into it with the understanding that I can't save everyone, but I can save who I can save. With that in mind, I'll let you make your decision, but I think it would be a disservice if I didn't bring that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's true too. Like there's one person for sure. So I guess the way he would probably see it is like there's one person for sure who needs help, and then there's people who may or may not need help. So yeah, he would. Okay.
Luke?
I mean, I'm not that fond of slavers, so I would probably go and try and rescue her from enslavement. Probably would be a pity, would be a pain in the ass to deal with my boss, but
Okay.
at the same time, I've evolved enough gold. Just me taking skills, that's not really a problem. So.
Alright. Tatiana?
The only thing I'm worried that, the only thing that Fluke is mostly worried about is if they have the equipment necessary to do what's most likely an interdimensional raid.
Well, you guys still have, you're not at the abyss right now. You have time to prepare. It's it's not a go right now. It's
Well, I mean, kind of is because of the
Yeah,
way
I
time
know.
is all screwy on the other side.
Well, yeah, but you've got enough time to to get things together.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess the plan is to find her first and tell Mom later.
Well, okay.
Yes.
As opposed to. Are you suggesting that you bring her with you?
Oh, I was just thinking that I mean, I could ask her to cover me for a while, or just cover for me for a while.
Okay. I
I mean, if I tell her it's like, yeah, we're gonna go investigate some stuff in the woods and give her a wink, she'll understand. It's me, dog. Oh my gosh, really, dog? Oh gosh. She's laying down and I'm trying to extend my foot and she's looking around to see where the mouse is.
All right. So I'm gonna say that you guys kind of
wait,
what?
Didn't Fluke want to, out of character, didn't Fluke want to contact the werewolves and ask them about it?
Yeah, but I'm going to ask them about it. I guess I can.
So
do it now.
we usually
I was
try and
basically waiting for the resolution of we will.
okay.
On the resolution if we will rescue them or not, because that will determine how I will approach the werewolves. If there
Okay.
are questions.
So we are approaching the 2-hour mark, and we usually try and keep it around there. And I think this would be a good place to sort of stop, so you can think about how you want to prepare and what you want to gather, and how you want to approach stuff. So I think we might want to like end the session now, and then approach it afresh next session.
This does feel like a
Sounds
part
good.
1.
What?
It does feel like a part 1, like an opening.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I can.
All right. So anyone aside from preparation or anything like that, anyone want to address stuff?
I'm fully dressed right now.
But
Did I'm ching.
so anything anyone wants to do before we wrap this up?
I mean, before we go, I'll probably want to excuse me. I'll probably want to just hypercram and see what I can't figure out for her. But we can actually do that in the beginning next week.
Okay. All right. Let me hit stop record.